Let's look at the ability to control whether an action should run, which is a new feature in Orbeon Forms 2021.1. Let's jump right in and look at this minimal example. Let's start by seeing what it looks like at runtime. I click the test button to run the example. Now, in the form, we have two text fields with logic that copies the value you enter in the input field to the output field. Let's try it. If I enter 40, tab out, then the field is also populated with that same value of 40. If I enter 41, tab out, I get 41. You get the idea. However, now if I enter 42, tab out, notice that the value here isn't updated. Let me close the test dialog and see how this is implemented in Form Builder. First, we have this echo service, which just returns whatever value is passed in input. It is just a service useful for testing, which uses this endpoint that is built in Orbeon Forms. Let me close the HTTP service dialog. The interesting part is in this except 42 action. The action runs when input is initialized or changes its value. It calls the echo service. It passes the value of input to the service and uses the value returned by the service to populate the output field. So far, there is nothing special. Getting back to the first tab, the interesting part is in this run condition. In this drop-down, you can choose always or in new mode only. And now you can also choose when formula evaluates to true. When you do so, you can enter your own condition using XPath, and the service will run only if that expression you entered returns true. So here we say that for the service to run, the value of the input field has to be different than 42, and this explains the behavior we just saw when we were looking at the form at runtime. Now, this is a contrived example that we did to keep things simple, but you might be able to imagine real-life cases where this would be useful. For instance, you might be in a situation where you might know who the user is, and if you do know who the user is, you want to call a service to retrieve information about the user. But if you don't know who the user is, you don't want to call that service to avoid maybe an unnecessary call or an error. So here we go, and we hope that you'll find this feature useful.